Hello friends, I'm Dr. Shabnam and welcome to the second session of tenses. In the previous session, we had discussed in detail about the present tense. In this session, let us take a leap back into the past and let us discuss in detail about the past tense in English language. Friends, in this session, you will be able to learn everything about the past tense in English language and its four forms: the simple past tense, the past perfect tense, the past continuous tense, and also the past perfect continuous tense in English. Let's begin the session. The first form of the past tense is the simple past tense, and its structure, as you can see, is very simple, like the simple present tense that we had discussed earlier. Let us now discuss and see how this tense is used in the English language. The simple past tense is used to denote completed events and actions that have happened in the past. This is its most obvious use. The simple past tense is also used to denote past states of mind. Now, the difference between the first usage and the second usage is the first usage denotes actions and the second usage denotes emotions. Both these actions and emotions have been experienced by the subject in the past. The past tense also denotes habitual or repeated actions that have happened in the past. You can see the usage of the simple past tense is almost the same as the simple present tense, only the time zone is different. Let us make this usage a little more clear by seeing the examples. I walked to school yesterday. I went to see my sister yesterday. Very simple example of an action that happened in the past, and this action is a completed action, as you can see. I realized it was the day before Christmas break. I loved the way she dressed. I hated the show. All these examples denote an emotional state of the subject. You can see that there is no action here, but there is an emotion and there is a state of mind. The past tense is also used to denote this state of mind and this state of emotion. It doesn't always denote action. The third use of the past tense, as was told, is about habitual and repeated actions that have happened in the past. As the example suggests, I saw a movie every weekend when I was a teenager. This action is a habitual, repeated action. The one word that makes this action a habitual action is the adverb every. So these, friends, are the very obvious uses of past tense in English language. Let me tell you a practical use of this tense. This tense is also used to denote wishes, unfulfilled desires, and longings expressed in the present. Now, this may sound as a paradox. I'm talking about the past tense and I'm talking about also expressing a wish or a desire in the present tense. How is it possible? Let me give you an example. If I won a lottery, I wish I had more days to live. Now you can see that syntactically this sentence is in the past tense, but the way it has been spoken, the simple past tense denotes that this wish has been expressed in the present time. This is the practical application of past tense also in English language, apart from the obvious grammatical usages that I have just mentioned to you. Let us now move to the next form of the past tense. This is called the past progressive tense. Let's see what the past progressive tense does in English language. This tense describes an action that was ongoing at one point in time. As the name suggests, the past progressive tense talks about an action which was in continuation or progression, but this action did not happen in the present. This action happened in the past, and that is why this tense is called the past progressive tense. Sometimes the past progressive tense is not used alone. It is used in conjunction and combination with the simple past tense also to denote overlapping action. I'll tell you how. Take a look at these examples. I was cooking dinner when the phone rang. You can see here that I was cooking dinner is an action that was happening in the past, and this was a continuation of an action. This is a continued action. The second part of the sentence talks about another action, when the phone rang. Here you can see a combination of two tenses. I was cooking dinner is in the past continuous tense. When the phone rang is in the past tense. And this is the overlapping that I was talking about. Sometimes the past progressive tense cannot function solo. It has to seek the support of the simple present tense. Let us take a look at another example to make this tense a little more clear to you. They were eating dinner when the neighbors stopped by for a visit. You can see here the same formula that I was talking about. There is an action, they were eating dinner. This action is in continuation. There is another action when the neighbors stopped by for a visit. This action has happened parallel to the first action. Well, friends, the past progressive tense is also used by the writers in a very, very beautiful fashion. As I was telling you that the past progressive tense is used in conjunction with the simple present tense, friends, writers often use the past progressive tense to paint word pictures. You must have read a lot about the past progressive tense in novels. The sun was shining, the birds were chirping, the wind was blowing gently. All these are past perfect tense, which is used to paint word pictures and to illustrate scene and scenic beauties by writers. So this, my friend, is the usage of past progressive tense in both English language and literature. Let us now move to the next form and the next type of the past tense, which is the past perfect tense. Let's see how this tense is used in language. The past perfect tense denotes an event that occurred before another event in the past. Now, the point to note here is that in the past perfect tense, there are two events. Both these events have occurred in the past, but one of these events has occurred before the second event. I will give you an example to illustrate this point. I had lived there for 5 years before we hosted a holiday dinner. As is clear from this sentence, from this example, there are two very clear actions happening here. The first action is, I had lived there for 5 years. This is action number 1. The second action is, we hosted a holiday dinner. You can see that the first action, I had lived there for 5 years, happens well before the second action, we hosted a holiday dinner. And the time frame of both these actions is the past. Let me give you one more example to bring home this point. The Titanic had received many warnings before it hit the iceberg. Again, you can see there are two very clear events and there are two very clear actions. The first action is the Titanic had received many warnings. This is action number 1. Action number 2 is it hit the iceberg. Now you can see that the first action, the Titanic had received many warnings, happened well before the second action, which is the Titanic hit the iceberg. Both these actions are set in the past. This is the structure and usage of the past perfect tense. The next tense, rather the last form of tense in the past tense series, is the past perfect continuous. As you can see from the name, this tense seems to be a combination of both the past perfect tense and the past continuous tense, and you can expect a complex structure here. Well, friends, I'm sure this definition sounds complicated to you. It will not sound complicated once you take a look at my fingers. I'm not joking. To explain this definition to you, there was an event that happened in the past. This event is denoted by my constant finger. There was another event that was in progress in the past. This event is denoted by my moving finger. The event that was in progress in the past continued up to the first event denoted by my constant finger. Let me give you an example to clarify this point further. She had been driving around the city for 3 hours before she finally found the right office. Here you can see there are two actions. The first action is she had been driving around the city. This is the first action. The time duration for this action is 3 hours. There is a second action. She finally found the right office. This is the constant finger that I was talking about. The first action finished at the second action. That means the first action denoted by she had been driving around the city for 3 hours finished at action number 2 when she finally found the right office. Mike wanted to sit down because he had been standing all day at work. In this sentence, you see an inverted syntax. That is only because the sentence wants to convey cause and effect. Otherwise, the sense and the purpose of this sentence is also the same. There are two actions here. Mike had been standing all day at work is an action which is in continuum, which is in progress, and it continues up till the second action when Mike wanted to sit down. And the cause and effect angle here is being shown by the word, by the conjunction because. Well, friend, this was a very comprehensive session on past tense, and we learned many things in this session. We've learned the form and the structure of the past tense. We've learned how to use the past tense in English language, and we've also learned the difference between the past continuous and the past perfect continuous forms, which is so easily confused and often misused in English language and conversation. I hope you found this session useful. Happy learning.